Hi, I'm now joined by Paulo Mole, who's the country manager for AGRA in Mozambique. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So one of the questions I'm going to ask you is, what are some of the key highlights, key successes coming out from Mozambique?
Okay, I will just mention a couple of them from the last quarter, which is basically what we're going to share this afternoon here. One is the fact that after years of let's say, that the government and partners never got together around the sector coordination issues. On July 7th, we had our first joint sector review, which brought together all the development partners and other stakeholders, including line ministers of the government, together to discuss about the future of the sector. And the most important to also indicate is that the joint sector review is supported by AGRA and our state capacity grants that just started. So that's the first one. The second is on policy. One of the key issues that arises from our work with them is policy. We are working on policy advocacy, given the fact that last year we approved policy reform grants, which started this year. So we felt that to have a more efficient on implementation of that policy reform, we should complement it with policy advocacy, which is basically around private sector. And these are mainly on reforming on an agri framework, finance policy, fertilizer act, and also ICT action. Right? So we are supporting the government on one side, but at the same time we want the private sector to be advocating for speed on the implementation of this reform. The third most important highlight on policy and state capability line of work is the fact that the government now is going to review its master plan on extension. And we participate in one of the meetings where we exposed our VPA model, and the government found it interesting to be evaluated, to be assessed, and potentially to be adopted on the new master plan. And the third, I would say the fourth element, is the development of a flagship program. Around the last 2 years, we have been negotiating with the government, and then we have agreed to support them in working on women and youth in agribusiness. And we would like to have this flagship around private sector involvement. We have been talking with Olan, ETG, and then we have shared concept notes, basic concept notes that will go into the development of the flagship program. Because at this point we are procuring, actually it's already under procurement, a consultant company to help the government in designing this specific program. So the center point in this program would like it to bring more private sector that is working on value addition as a secure market for farmers. Then we will support the whole value chain to respond to that quality. So these are, in a nutshell, if you like, what we are doing in policy and state capability, but also on partnership.
When you look at AGRA as an institution, how can you say it supports government? What are we offering to these countries that we work in?
Actually, I think critical inputs that the government sometimes have had time to get is technical assistance. I will say we spent a lot of time, I will say in coaching, but in helping the government to be at the center point in convening any stakeholder in the sector. So they see us not just as brokers in terms of relationship between development partners and other stakeholders, but also the fact that we share a common vision. We want them to have clear priorities, articulate them in a way that they can develop programs like the flagship, and they are able to take this and sell it, if you like, to the private sector, to the development partners, and mobilize more resources. So this is basically the role we are playing. It's a go-to partner. They consider us #1 partner among those who support the agricultural sector.